Hello everyone, it's Emma and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all sorts of things zero waste, focusing on free, easy, and fun ways to live low waste. And today, going to Kroger. This is the second video in my Can You Zero Waste Grocery Shop at This Grocery Store series. This video, we're gonna do it a little bit differently. I regret doing this with Meijer. Meijer was my first video, which is a Midwest brand. Kroger's become quite the national brand in the US. And because of that, I wanted to research the brand further. So again, I regret doing this with Meijer. If you want me to do a separate video researching Meijer on if it's actually sustainable or not, let me know. So what we're going to be doing first with today's video is going back in time. I'm going to be researching Kroger live for you. You get to see my live reaction. So let's go back in time. Let's find out some tea about Kroger, and then we'll actually shop at Kroger. Kroger screams greenwashing. I have done no research on Kroger for myself. And I didn't want to do Kroger for this series, but so many people suggested I do Kroger from that last video. And I think it's because it's a very popular option, as well as, if you didn't know, Kroger is now the parent company of so many grocery stores. The Kroger Co. operates grocery retail stores under the following banners: Kroger, Ralph's, Dillon's, Smith's, King Scoopers, Fry's, QFC, City Market, Owens, JC, Payless, Gerbes, Harris, Teeter, Pick and Save, Metro Market, Mariano's, Fred Meyer. Is there more? The other big ones on there are Fred Meyer, Smith's, and they also just acquired Albertsons, I think last year. I don't care if they're doing great things for the planet. I don't care if they're doing great things for charity. $1 billion company that is acquiring small businesses, unethical, and it's hard to say they're sustainable when they're taking away diversity in the marketplace. Let's get into their ESG report from 2023, Environmental and Social Governance Report. This is their own report. Like, this isn't someone else looking at Kroger. This is what they have to say about themselves. There isn't a ton, but there's this paragraph about climate change that I will read for you right now. We recognize our dual responsibilities in when managing climate impact, reducing the adverse impacts of our operations on a changing climate and mitigating the potential impacts of a changing climate on our business. It doesn't really have any impact in that first sentence. But I also didn't catch that they're also trying to figure out how climate change is going to affect their business. If individuals have to have a selfish mindset around climate change, so be it. Whatever it takes to get people to actually make change. Kroger's current target is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 30% by 2030 from a 2018 baseline. In 2022, we achieved further progress towards our goal, reducing emissions by a cumulative 15.2% so far. So to the average person, that might seem like in 2022 alone, they reduced their emissions by 15%. That is not the case. It is a cumulative 15%, meaning from 2018 to 2020. It's still impressive. They've reached half their goal for 2030 in the span of 4 years. What else that stands out to me is on their introduction page about our business. It's the first thing they want to brag about is a $148.3 billion total sales for the fiscal year 2022. That's a lot of money. Now, that's not profits, so I went over to Google, and this is from macrotrends.net. Kroger's gross profit over the 12-month span of the fiscal year 2022, $32.5 billion. Profit alone. Something else to keep in mind is the word sustainability is not actually regulated by any entity, and you can learn more about unregulated terms in the zero waste space up here. And we're seeing that a lot already with Kroger. On this page is their go-to market strategy. It just has the word sustainability thrown on there in the fresh category. But actually reading that paragraph about fresh, just about delivering freshness to customers. Oh, additional days of freshness. Maybe it has to do with food waste. I'm trying to have an open mind about this because I had a pretty closed mind about Tetra Pak, and I just did research for that video. You can also check out up here, and my mind was changed. Gosh, they're literally just throwing words around willy-nilly. So we have this diagram that says our ESG strategy. It talks about hunger, zero waste, and system. So zero waste is food waste, waste and circularity, biodiversity and conservation, agricultural practices, water, energy and greenhouse gas emissions, climate change resilience. And then a little paragraph here says climate impact, improving business resilience, reducing climate impact, and supporting the transition to a lower carbon economy, investing in energy efficiency and renewable energy, and reducing food waste and refrigerant emissions. Just very vague blanket statements. So with food waste, it says reduce total food waste generated in our retail supermarkets by 50% cumulatively from 2017 baseline. So there's two types of food waste. There's food waste that we as consumers create in our home, and there's food waste that businesses, restaurants, grocery stores create. Stuff that doesn't sell, stuff that expires, stuff that I also have a friend who works at Kroger, stuff that employees will leave out in the middle of the aisle. It's not refrigerated in time. That stuff gets thrown out. So in 2020, total food waste from Kroger was 268,000 tons of food waste. So from 2020 to 2022, they actually decreased their amount of food waste by 7%, which is good. So their goal is 2025. They started in 2017. This is embarrassing now that I'm actually reading this fully. Their goal was to reduce their food waste by 50% over the span of 8 years. And it has been 7 years. It's 2024 now. and they've only reduced their food waste by 26%. But again, any effort to reduce food waste is important. Something else that we need to talk about when it comes to greenwashing is these vague claims about, reducing our food waste by 50%. That sounds amazing, right? But when you look at how much food waste they're still producing, like they've reduced their food waste by 26% over the course of 2017 to 2020. So even though they have reduced their food waste by 26% over the span of 5 to 6 years, they're still producing 245,000 tons, not pounds, tons of food waste. Really something that we don't think about a lot when it comes to greenwashing, and I talk about in my free greenwashing guide you can get below, is that companies will use blanket statements like this, like, we're reducing our food waste by 50%, without actually telling you how much food waste they're still producing, like 490 million pounds of food waste every year. Yes, it's great that they're reducing food waste, but that they're like, look at us, we've reduced 26% of our food waste. They're still producing 500 million pounds of food waste every year. That is 222 million kilograms of food waste. Listen, we haven't even gotten into anything besides food waste, and I already hate Kroger, particularly because I've seen so many eco creators recently taking partnerships with Kroger and talking about how great Kroger is at reducing food waste. I had a feeling it was this bad because I have a friend who works at Kroger. This was easy to find. This is easy to read. Those eco creators, and I know I mess up when I take partnerships sometimes, but when you're working with a billion-dollar company, you have to do some due diligence and check, are they greenwashing? Because chances are they are, and then they're using these influencers to make themselves look better. Let's see how much emissions. So for every 1,000 tons of food waste landfilled, it's an estimated 34 metric tons of methane. 34 times 245, 8,300 metric tons of methane every year from Kroger alone, in food waste alone. All right, let's move on to operational waste. Company-wide, meet and exceed the zero waste threshold of 90% diversion from landfill by 2025. Where's all their stuff going then? I know they don't recycle. The location in Ohio doesn't recycle that my friend works at. What are they doing to divert stuff from the landfill? Are they recycling? Are they composting? Phase out single-use plastic shopping bags, but their goal is to do it by 2025. And I'm quite confident they still use plastic bags in full. And they don't have like an incentive for you to bring your reusable bag, that they don't do a discount or anything. Okay, climate impact. Now this is super sciencey and hard to read. So they are on track to meet this goal. Our brand's product packaging sustainability. So our brands is, I believe, Kroger brand, and not other brands that they support, like, Kikkoman soy sauce, Heinz ketchup, etc. Complete a baseline product packaging footprint to fully understand current packaging impacts by 2030. That means nothing. This means they're just going to inventory product packaging. That's it. It doesn't mean they're going to reduce product packaging. It doesn't mean they're going to even analyze it. Wow. Okay, this one's pretty cool. Seek to achieve 100% recyclable, compostable, and or reusable packaging. This is going to lead to more greenwashing and wish cycling because technically everything is recyclable. Plastic bags that you get egg noodles or blueberries in, technically recyclable. And Kroger does have in-store recycling. Do they actually recycle those in-store thin plastic bag recycling? So I think this is a really cool goal, still not taking very much responsibility in the fact that, like, are they going to educate consumers on how to recycle? Because a lot of this packaging might be technically recyclable, but can consumers recycle it in their area? Probably not. It depends on what they choose to use. And again, this is just their brand. This isn't anything else that they sell in the store. They were on track for 40% in 2021 and then 37% in 2022. So seems like they're going down. I wish they had more numbers on here to compare, but they just started this in 2021. Next, increase recycled content in packaging so our brand's portfolio collectively contains at least 10% recycled content. Not great. It would be cool to see more. They had 14% recycled content in 2021 and 18% recycled content in 2022. And then increase awareness among Kroger customers about how to properly manage product packaging at end of life. Okay, cool. They seem like they are going to do some consumer education. We're going to go over seafood sustainability real quick because I think this could be a video entirely on its own about seafood sustainability. You know what? I'll just put a snippet right here for you of this chart. I'm not going to dive into it because I'm also not a seafood sustainability expert. Okay, deforestation commitments. Source palm oil, palm kernel oil, and palm oil derivatives in our brand's products from sources certified to the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, RSPO, supply chain standard. I hate RSPO, certified palm oil, and you can learn more about that in this video. It's a pretty old video. I think I made it in 2020, but the information is still valid and relevant. And the biggest issue that I have with RSPO is it's all in-house. They create the standards, and the standards are very, very vague. But from my knowledge on RSPO certified palm oil, better than not being RSPO certified, it really doesn't mean all that much. sustainable, either recycled or from sustainable forests. I should probably do a deep dive into FSC because I feel like companies probably use that the same way that they use RSPO. The household paper products is at 93% sustainable, and the packaging for household goods is 45%. So we'd like to see that increased. But they have no baseline. They have no baseline year or like goal number to get to. It just says use post-consumer recycled content. Use deforestation-free soy-based ingredients in our brand's products. Oh, okay. So yeah, if you didn't know, and maybe I should do a video on soy as well, soy is actually terrible for the environment because we need to do deforestation to have soy. I'm not saying the people eating tofu and drinking soy milk are causing climate change. Guess who eats soy? Cows and pigs. Seems to be they're at about 90 to 99% deforestation-free soy-based ingredients. Okay, so I did more reading on soy and beef after I quit filming that original snippet. So here's some more information. They source 99% of their soy products, like actual soy products like tofu, soy oil, soy milk, etc., from North America, meaning Canada and the United States. And they deem this as a deforestation risk low. Currently, I think this is funny because like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, it was all forest, and then all the forests were taken down for farmland. So there's currently not a deforestation risk, but it was deforested. This is not a dig at Kroger, I just think it's funny. Now, beef. This one is a little bit greenwashy to me because while they source 99% of their beef from North America too, they claim this lowers the risk of deforestation. And I'm curious how. Like, do they know where these farmers are getting the soy to feed their cows? Because most cows are fed soy and corn. Are all of these American-raised cows also eating 100% American-raised soy and corn? Or are these American-raised cows eating soy that was grown in the Amazon rainforest that has contributed to deforestation? I don't think Kroger could even know where these farmers are getting their feed for their cows. I think it's a pretty good assumption to assume that factory farmed animals in the United States are fed soy from cheaper sources, which is in a different country, which is leading to deforestation. Can't be for sure, but it's just something to keep in mind here. We don't know where the farmers are getting their food for their cows. Okay, now we're in the planet section. Protect and restore natural resources for a brighter future. Kroger strives to protect the natural resources we depend on. With a picture of a monoculture on here, mind you. A picture of land that was probably very diverse with wildlife and plants, and now it's full of cabbages. I get it. We need to eat. We need land to eat. The imagery here is just so funny because we're focused on addressing our climate impacts and supporting research conservation by eliminating food and operational waste, increasing efficiency, and boosting the sustainability and resilience of our supply chain. And there's a picture of a monocrop on here. 2022 highlights down 15% in greenhouse gas emissions since 2018, 51% cumulative electricity avoided in supermarkets compared to 2001. It's got to be something similar to the food waste, right? Like, we're down 50%, but they probably still use insane amounts of energy. We're down 2% annual change in electricity consumed in manufacturing. No date. 82% waste diversion from landfill company-wide. For the year, since when? 37% of our brand's packaging characterized as recyclable. 37%? That is not good. Especially because, as we talked about, classified as recyclable still doesn't mean it's always going to be recycled or accepted for recycling based on where the consumer lives. Oh, okay. This is something I forget about a lot, is that we can turn food waste into animal food. And my dad actually does this kind of work. So I forgot about that when it comes to reducing food waste, because you can give things that are a little bit rotten or suspicious to cows and pigs that aren't really good for humans. So food waste management plan, destination animal feed. So of their total 245,289 tons of food waste for the year 2022, they sent 41,392 tons to become animal feed, which is about 17%. Also sent 29,000 tons roughly to both anaerobic digestion and composting. I don't really know what the difference is between the two. That is around 12% each for anaerobic digestion and composting. And then we also got biodiesel. Totally forget that we can turn food waste into biodiesel, which is really cool, but it's only about 12,000 tons Kroger, so it's not a ton, and that is only about 5%. Landfill is 132,000 tons. 132,709 to be exact, divided by 245,289. 54% goes to the landfill. So what was it earlier? It was 8,330 metric tons of methane emissions from the total food waste. We'll just divide it in two for easy math. 4,165 tons of methane emissions, sending food waste to the landfill every year just from Kroger. The average person produces about 4 tons. We'll divide that by 4. Just Kroger, just food waste, is the equivalent of 1,041 and a quarter people living a normal average life for an entire year. Just to put that into perspective for you, our individual actions do matter. It's companies like Kroger that are really killing the planet, and not us. 2017 baseline was where they really started to focus on food waste diversion, and In those days, they were landfilling 73% and diverting 27%. It's continued and continued. 2020, 2021, and 2022 were all very stagnant, around 51 to 54% landfilled. But regardless, their goal in just 1 year, again, we don't have their numbers for 2023 yet. We don't know what they're going to do in 2024. But next year, their goal is to divert 95% from the landfill, which is a great goal. So that's on food waste. Let's get into their packaging recyclability definitions. Recycled in practice and at scale. Glass beverage containers, cardboard, paperboard, aluminum beverage cans, pans, and trays. I really like that they don't have plastic on here, because while plastic is recyclable, not highly recycled, even plastics 1 and 2. And then we also have widely collected for recycling, which is plastic bottles, jugs, jars, PET, HDPE, LDPE, PP plastics, aluminum food cans, and glass containers. Then we've got sometimes collected for recycling, recycle ready, which is thin plastic bags, and not recyclable, which is multi-layer plastic film. Not recyclable, 50%. So that's pretty not good either. Boom, here we go, exactly what I thought. TerraCycle. I have no qualms with TerraCycle, but I know brands that use TerraCycle to greenwash, and you can learn more about that in this video. Because Kroger customers can mail in any of our brand's flexible packaging with TerraCycle. You're making the consumer do all the work and pay money for it. Like, it would be different if they had a TerraCycle collection bin at the front of every store, but they don't. They're saying you as the consumer, you have to pay money to mail it in yourself if you want this recycled. Wow, this really turned into a true deep dive on Kroger, but now I feel ready to actually go to Kroger and see if I can actually zero waste shop there as a consumer, see what it actually looks like in the store. Now that I have all this information, and it's hard to judge an entire company based off one store, I feel like it can give us a good insight into what their stores are actually like. I think they're doing some great things in the right direction. But like, no matter how good they do, I'm not gonna praise a $1 billion corporation. And no matter how much they do, they're not going to save the planet. They might be destroying it less. Okay, now that we know everything we need to know about Kroger on how, now let's actually go to Kroger. If you missed the first iteration of my series, Can You Zero Waste Grocery Shop at This Store? It is based off the Shell Bizzle series. She started this and I was like, I wanna try that, but I wanna do a different spin on it. The way that she does it is she goes to the grocery store and actually seeks out zero waste options. But rather, I'm gonna go with my grocery list because I think that's more practical for me and perhaps you guys as well. I don't wanna cater my life around zero waste. I want to take my current life and try to make it zero waste. Pretty impressed with their plastic-free produce selection. Their aisles, nothing to sing praises about. Their vegan selection, pretty bad, honestly. So if you're vegan, Meijer is better than Kroger. And then also initial thoughts, the price, so expensive. I know I got cat food and I know I got a couple vegan treats, but we only bought enough stuff for one meal this week, and it was about the cost of 2 meals at Meijer. So we'll review that when I get home. I was pleasantly surprised with the plastic-free selection at Kroger. This contained so much less plastic than my haul from Meijer. Also note, I bought 2 things spontaneously, on impulse. I bought the Miyoko's liquid pizza cheese, and I also bought the Baby Bells because those 2 are so rare to find that when I find them, I gotta snatch them up. Here's everything that I found, plastic-free versus in recyclable packaging versus in non-recyclable packaging. And I thought this was a pretty good haul, especially for a big chain grocery store. Pairing it to Meijer, their plastic-free produce specifically, so many more options. I found spinach plastic-free. I found broccoli plastic-free, which is normal. Meijer doesn't carry broccoli plastic-free, which is annoying. Literally everything I found in the produce section was plastic-free, not only plastic-free, but package-free. I try to avoid as much single use as possible. Of course, you can't avoid every single piece of single use, but if you want to learn more about which material is the best, you can check out this video. And then moving on to the aisles. I have nothing special to report from the aisles. It's about the same as any other grocery store. Plenty of canned goods, canned vegetables, canned beans, plenty of pasta sauces in jars, plenty of pasta in boxes versus bags, plenty of plant-based milk options. Now, I was not that impressed with their vegan selection, especially yogurt. I like to eat yogurt and they didn't have a lot of options options in that department. Vegan section. Potentially there was more in the freezer aisles. I was trying to look for some chicken nuggets, but I was just not in the mood to wander around the grocery store for a long time. So I just got what I could and I left. So I wasn't really impressed with their vegan selection. That has nothing to do with their, well, I guess it does have something to do with their eco-ness, because plant-based options are better for the planet inherently. And you can learn more about that in this video. I think shopping through the aisles, it would be very, very easy to find stuff in cans, in jars, in boxes, and avoid plastic. It looks like the only thing that we got in plastic was stuff like the vegan swaps, vegan cheeses, frozen berries, tortillas, and some vegan dumplings, which is all pretty good. If you only have access to big stores like Kroger, Meijer, you can't shop at a small family-owned company, you can't shop at like, you know, a local grocery store or whatever. If you have to shop at a big chain, support small businesses within that chain. What I mean is Bush's Baked Beans, Cedar's Hummus, Wyman's Berries, they're all family-owned. That money you're giving to Kroger then tells them that they should support more small family businesses instead of supporting big chains. It's not perfect, this way of voting with your dollar, but you're still telling Kroger that they should emphasize small businesses over big companies. Now for the bill. I went in only buying stuff for one meal, a few things that we needed to stock up on like frozen berries, hummus. Our total was $124.72. I did buy cat food, but we'll subtract the cat food. Our total was $104.72 for all of our food for the week, and we got this many items, 26 items. Had I left off the Miyoko's cheese, that would save $7. My dumplings cost $5.50. Gosh, the vegan swaps were so expensive. $5 for cheese, $4.80 for milk. Baby bells are $6.50. Could have gone without our vegan swaps. What is a fair judgment is the produce, because we buy produce pretty much very similar wherever we go. The broccoli, 2 heads of broccoli, $5.40. I thought that was so expensive. Broccoli's normally really, really cheap. The apples I got for Dan, the Honey Crisps, $9 for 5 apples. That's nearly $2 per apple. And then the cat food. I know that's not part of our normally weekly grocery shopping. It cost us $10 for this size bag in Spokane, and it cost $20 here. So I was not very impressed with their prices. We'll see what the quality of the produce is like over the next couple days. So far, so good. It's still lasting in the fridge, waiting for me to use it. I did like that they let me use my own bags. Of course, that's always a great thing to do. That's basically my experiences actually shopping in person at Kroger on if you can do it plastic free, if you can do it affordably. And at the end of the day, I'm going to keep supporting family businesses. Even if I create a little bit more waste buying my broccoli in plastic, I would rather support Meijer with my money than Kroger. Is Kroger as bad as I thought it was? No. But do I think Kroger is still doing a lot of greenwashing? Yes. I still think that what Kroger is doing, buying out all of these small grocery stores, is just so wrong. Even if they're doing it sustainably, they're getting rid of our selection in the marketplace as consumers. You're getting a little too close to monopoly for my comfort level. But at the end of the day, if you only have access to a big chain grocery store, you gotta do what you gotta do. And like I said, what you can do is still shop for small businesses. You can shop as package free, as plastic free as possible. Bring your own grocery bags. I have to cover more grocery stores to actually figure out which grocery store is the actual worst. But speaking of, the next iteration that I'm going to be doing of this video is of Aldi, which is a very, very popular grocery store. It's really blown up in the last decade or so. Going into it, just like with Kroger, I already have some hot takes about Aldi. I kind of already don't like them. So we'll see if my research changes my mind. Stay tuned for that video. That will probably come out in March. I might try to do one of these per month, maybe every other month, depending on how you guys like them and how often I find new grocery stores to try out. Let me know which grocery stores I should try out after Aldi. Keep it kind of big, like Meijer, HEB size. Like, it's still a big, well-known grocery store, even though it's localized to one region of the United States. Thank you for watching. I know this video got a little bit long. I hope that you enjoyed it though, found some useful information in it. Let me know how you're zero waste grocery shopping down below. And if you want more zero waste grocery shopping tips, especially if you do not have access to a bulk store like me right now, check out this video because you still can low waste grocery shop without a bulk store. I also have a free guide you can download. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. But until then, remember that your small actions make a big difference in the long run. Bye, guys. But that Kroger you're giving to money, it's not Times, you idiot. Holy moly.